Hi, so we're just going to go a little bit through some standing footwork. So the idea is you're going to work through your toes, through your feet, through the soles of your feet, so you get a little bit more strength, mobility into your feet, into your ankles, which will then help work up through the hips, and it will help with running, walking, any day-to-day work where you use your feet basically. So hopefully you can hear me okay, you can see me okay. I'm going to try and zoom in on my feet as well, so see how this goes. We're going to start with feet hip width apart, toes stretched out. Make sure you've got space around you. You can stand on the floor, hard floor, carpet, on a mat, wherever you're comfortable standing. And then your toes are stretched out, so you're trying to get a little bit of space between all of your toes. So if you look down, you can see the floor between your toes. You can get the toes really stretched out, a bit like my fingers. Keep them stretched out. So again, as you look down, your toes are the widest point of your feet. So think, if you can do, think how baby's feet look. So the heel's the narrowest point and it goes up. They've got nice wide toes. But where we wear shoes all the time, for some reason our shoes are designed to squish our feet in. We want nice wide toes. So we're going to start by stretching the toes all the way out. And then we're going to come into our big toe lifts and then the other 4 toes lifting. So you're going to press all of your toes firmly down. Try not to scrunch them up, just keep them as long as you can, press them down. From there, keep all the 4 toes pressed down and try and lift your big toes up. And then press the big toes back down. Can you lift the other 4 toes? So press the 4 toes down, lift the big toes again. Press the big toes down, lift the 4 toes. So it might take a few rounds just to get kind of the messages down to your toes. They should be moving. Press the 4 toes down, lift the big toes again. Try not to scrunch the other toes up. And then switch. And switch. And whilst you're pressing the toes, the big toes down, just notice, does it feel like you're rolling through your feet or your legs, your hips or anywhere to get that range, to get that lift, rather than actually lifting and lowering your toes. So I know my right foot, as I lift my 4 toes, I can feel my right foot trying to roll in, trying to cheat to get that range of movement just by lifting the foot up and down rather than just lifting my toes up and down. So switch and lower a few more times. And try and do about 8, although I have lost count. 2 more either way, so lift the big toes, press the other toes firmly down and switch. I can feel my right one trying to roll in. And then the last one either way. And then rest everything down, lift up onto your toes if you want to, stretch through the foot so you can tuck your toes under. I turn my leg sideways. Press into your toes so you then get stretch across the top of your foot, and you can do the other one. You can press into the scrunched up toes if you want to. We're going to change it into an exercise that gets called short foot exercise. This is going to work for underneath, especially the arches of your feet. You can do both at the same time. I'm going to do one at a time. I'm going to turn sideways just so hopefully you can see what my foot's doing. So again, press all of your toes down. Try not to scrunch your toes up. The tendency to scrunch your toes up. If you scrunch your toes up, you might find that you're feeling it here and the top of your foot in your toes. We want to try and feel it more here under the instep, under that arch of your foot. So stretch, lengthen, flatten your toes down. Imagine they're stuck down in toffee or something. And then think about it, you've got a really cold wave about to wash in over your feet. Rather than scrunching your toes up, try and keep the toes long. Draw the toes in. So the whole of your foot shortens, not just your toes scrunching in. And then slide back out again. So slide the toes in. Can you feel your arch of your foot lifting up? And then slide back out. Slide in. Slide out. Add a bit more weight into your foot if you find it easy. Try not to scrunch the toes up. Slide back out. Lean back into the other leg if you're finding it a little bit challenging, so take the weight off of that foot we're trying to move. Really think each time, can you feel it in the arch, in that instep, on the sole of your foot, rather than through the toes? Got 2. And then 1 more. Straighten the foot again. Stretch through the foot, stretch those muscles you've just been working. Roll from big toe to little toe. And then I'm going to switch legs, so I'm going to turn around the other way. So stretch the toes out, flatten your toes down. So your toes are stuck down in toffee, for that cold wave about to wash in over your feet. So try not to scrunch your foot, your toes. Try and slide the toes in, keeping the toes long. So your arch, the underneath of your foot, lifts up like a little bridge. And slide back out again. So your foot lengthens back out, shortens as you draw your toes in, but try not to scrunch up. Slide back out. And you might find one foot works really differently to the other foot. So one foot might be easier, more challenging. Maybe you feel it more intensely on one foot than the other foot. Just notice what you notice. And then lean back into that leg if you want to take the weight off. Add a little bit more weight into that front leg if you want to make it a bit more challenging. Got 2. And then 1 more. Lengthen back out and again. Roll big toes to little toes. So, and I'm going to turn back round. We're going to finish with heel lift. So from here, you're going to try and press down into the base of your big toe, into the ball of your big toes. You lift and lower your heels. Tendency is to roll to the outside edges towards your little toes, but you want to try and press through those big toes. So you're going to lift up, pressing into the big toes. So you should feel all the legs, the calves, the quads, bum, your glutes working. Lower down for 3, 2, and 1. I'm going to lift for 3, 2, 1. Pause at the top, pressing into your big toes. And we're going to lower for 3, 2, and 1. I'm going to lift back up again. 3, 2, 1. Pause at the top. If you've got a mirror anywhere near, you can see your feet in the mirror. The idea is you have your heels tucked in behind your ankles. I'm going to lower for 3, 2, and 1. And lift back up for 3, 2, 1. Pause at the top. So if you can see your heels in your mirror, you probably roll to the outside edges of your feet. Lower for 3, 2, 1. Lift for 3, 2, 1. Pause at the top. So think, are you pressing into your big toes? Lower for 3, 2, 1. And again, lifting. 3, 2, 1. Lift as high as you can. Notice any wobbles. I'm going to lower for 3, 2, 1. And then you've got the last 2. So lifting for 3, 2, 1. Pause at the top. Feel the wobbles. Lower for 3, 2, 1. And then the last one. So lift for 3, 2, 1. Pause at the top. Lower for 3, 2, 1. Bring the heels flat down. If you take your knees forward, you get a little bit of stretch into the back of the calves, maybe into the front of the ankles. And standing up, so again, bring the knees forward. Keep the heels down. So feel that stretch in the calf, feel the work into the front of the ankles. Couple more. That's it, keep the heels flat down. Knees go as far forward as they get to. Last one. And then lift up. And just circle the foot round. And the other way. And switch legs. Circle round. And the other way. Bringing the foot down. And that's it. It's your little footwork for you to do however many times a week you want to do it. Enjoy.